Merrill Wine and the Destiny Foundation present Rambam, the story of Maimonides. The voice of Rambam, Leonard Nimoy. The voice of Yitzhak the Inkman, Armand Asante. Written by Robert Averick. Music composed by Yehuda Jordan Kaplan. Directed by Ashley Lazarus.
I was born in Cordoba, Spain in 1135. My father was Rabbi Maimonides, the Dayan, the legal authority of the Jewish community.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning to you.
Cordoba was a beautiful city with fine architecture and lush gardens. The streets were always filled with people. The atmosphere was of peace. Tolerance, culture, and refinement prevailed. And for us, the Jews, life was comfortable and secure.
Herbs, fresh herbs.
Shalom Aleichem.
Alechem shalom.
Aloe, healing aloe. Aloe. How does the aloe plant soothe dry skin?
Moshe.
How do fish breathe underwater? Do birds teach their young how to fly?
Hurry, we must hurry, Moshe.
But Father, you haven't answered any of my questions.
The Torah, Moshe. Everything can be found in the Torah. Now, please, we must go.
May Hashem have mercy. Yes.
So little time. Rabbeinu Ibn Migash keeps asking for the boy.
For me?
Do you know why you are here, young Moshe? Destiny.
Whose destiny?
Yours. Your destiny. And the destiny of all Jews everywhere. From my teacher, the great and God-fearing Rabbi Yitzhak Alfasi, I learned Torah. And this Torah I pass on to you, Moshe ben Maimon. I have seen you grow. I have looked into your heart. And I have looked into your mind. It is through your soul, Moshe ben Maimon, that Torah will be preserved. It is through your efforts that Torah and holiness will be maintained. Difficult times lie ahead for all of Israel. May God give you the strength, for there is no time to lose.
Have you ever noticed that birds always travel in flocks? If you see a bird alone, it is usually sick or dying. Come, learn with me.
I cannot. Yitzhak ben Hassan arrives from Yemen and I have to help Father with their business.
I should help also.
No, dear brother. You study and I will help earn the money.
Oh, that doesn't seem fair.
Let us make a pact. In this world, I will make a living, you will learn Torah. In the next world, we will share the reward. Agreed?
Young masters, allow me to announce Yitzhak ben Hassan into your presence.
Ah! David and Moshe! What a journey! I tell you, each year that sand gets thicker, each year the sun grows hotter, and each year the camels grow more and more inconsiderate. Young Moshe ben Maimon, may I suggest you turn your considerable genius to the breeding of a camel that does not spit? So where is the Dayan?
Father is in the yeshiva.
How wonderful to be in a proper city once again. Every year, Cordoba becomes more and more glorious. And speaking of glorious, allow me to show you what lovely inks and skins I brought with me. But first, I must wash my hands and change my clothing. Sand is everywhere. And those camels. Have I mentioned how they spit? Come, take me to the washroom. Observe. A fine onyx pigment from the land of India. I'm told that Alexander the Great personally used this for all his correspondence. And now the binder. Gypsum and water, just so. But observe the depth, the contrast.
And it does not seem to settle.
No, this ink holds its form. No pooling, no smearing. And it will not fade. Well, we are, after all, interested in eternity. Yes?
Look! What is it?
The Almohads! The Almohads are coming!
The Almohads! The Almohads are coming!
In 1147, the fanatic Muslim Almohads, determined to conquer and convert Spain, advanced on Cordoba.
They have entered the city.
The children! The children! Mercy! May heaven have mercy!
Quick! Quick!
What are we to do? The Almohads! The Almohads are here!
Praise be to Allah.
I'm scared.
We must pray.
We are doomed.
Teshuvah, we must do teshuvah.
Life, for all of us, especially Christians and Jews, unfortunately, was never the same.
The Quran commands us to treat the Jew and the Christian as inferior.
May God save us.
Take the Torahs quickly, quickly.
We have been promised protection.
The Almohads rule Spain now. The only protection you will receive is from the all-merciful Allah. Your Torah is a book of lies. It is an affront to Muslims and is now forbidden. Jews of Cordoba, you have a choice. Convert to the true faith or go into exile. If you are foolish and wicked enough to choose exile, all your property will be confiscated. Those Jews who choose to stay must convert or die.
It's the Torah! No!
Who is the Dayan of Cordoba? You? You will be spokesman for the Jews of Cordoba. When the sun rises tomorrow, I will expect an answer. What will you tell your people?
The truth. I will tell them the truth. Only what we can carry. Leave the rest behind.
Where are we to go?
Reb Maimon, what must I do?
To stay, to go? Oh, Rabbi.
The choice is impossible.
For myself, I choose exile. And I advise everyone else to do the same.
But our homes, everything we've worked for.
I know. I know.
Perhaps we can fool the Almohads.
Fool them?
Pretend to convert, but remain as faithful Jews.
It would be better to leave.
My parents are old and sick. They cannot travel. Should I leave them behind to die?
Father?
You shall live by the Torah, not die by the Torah. My family and I have the luxury of being able to leave. Those who can, should. Those who cannot, may God give them the strength to continue in the ways of the Torah.
Move! Move! May God protect us.
Jewelry, gold.
God decreed upon us exile and wandering, from one end of the heavens to the other, when my mind was troubled by exiles ordained by heaven. Though we wandered for years, always one step ahead of the fanatical Almohads, my father continued to be my teacher. We studied Hebrew, we learned Torah.
But he also believed that science, astronomy, and mathematics were important. Father always said that the more one knows, the more God is revealed to you.
Shalom Alechem.
Yitzchak, Alechem Shalom.
What are you doing, Moshe?
There's a great deal of illness and fever. No physician. I'm learning which herbs make useful medicine.
Well, may I remind you that camels still insist upon drooling all over me at every opportunity?
What news do you bring, Yitzchak? What's happening to my beloved Spain?
The Almohads are destroying our lovely world, one small piece at a time. Ah, Moshe. It was paradise, wasn't it?
And your home in Yemen, has it fallen too?
No, thank God. Yemen still loves its Jews, but all over Spain, the yeshivot are closed. Torah learning is practically non-existent. In such times, people are too busy surviving. They've no time to learn Torah. There are forced conversions everywhere. To be discovered learning Torah brings an immediate death sentence. Soon Torah will be forgotten.
Forgotten? You, Yitzchak, have you time to learn?
I confess I'm too busy making a living. Besides, learning Talmud has never been easy for me. I need something simple, accessible. After all, Moshe, we cannot all be scholars. Moshe?
You're right, Yitzchak.
I am? About what?
To save Torah, I must make the Talmud available to all Jews. Some kind of a guide.
An abridgment? A compendium?
A digest, a commentary.
My dear friend, for what you're talking about, there is no word.
To this day, confusion has grown in learning Mishnah, oral law. Even if one is the greatest of sages, one cannot understand a Mishnah without first learning the entire relevant portion of the Talmud with its give and take. But the discussions in the Talmud are sometimes drawn out to 4 or 5 pages on one law, filled with argument and debate. As a result, only an expert in in-depth learning can correctly clarify the meaning of the Mishnah. With the Almohad conquest of Spain, we set sail for Tangier and Morocco. From there, we settled in Fez. Both my brother and I married and started families. Life for the Jews of Morocco was difficult, and many Jews must pretend to be Muslim in public. It's impossible to tell who is a Jew and who isn't. Shalom. We're looking for Rabbeinu Yehuda HaKohen Ibn Shushan. Do you know where we might find him?
He lives in the last house, at the end of the alley.
Thank you.
Ah, Rabbeinu Maimon, Rabbeinu Moshe, and David. What an honor. I have had the pleasure of learning some of your Perush HaMishnayot. Do you truly intend to codify and digest all biblical and rabbinic law?
With God's help, my work will offer a clear-cut decision of every question touching the religious, ritual, moral, and social duties of the Jewish people.
Oh, there will be opposition to such a work. Some might call you, forgive me, arrogant.
Well, then, so be it.
And to write it all in Arabic? Scholars will object.
I use the language of the common man. I want Torah, all of Torah, to be available to every Jew.
Is such a thing possible?
It is not only possible, but necessary.
Rabbeinu Moshe, I must tell you that your work, well, it makes me uneasy. I fear that you will take the study out of Torah. Codifying so rigorously is dangerous. Students will have a question. Look at your work, follow your opinion, and then that will be the end of it. Forgive me, Rabbeinu Moshe, but that is not how Torah is supposed to be learned.
But that is hardly my intention, Rabbeinu Shushan.
Intentions and results often clash, but please do not misunderstand me. I am honored to finally meet you. And is it true that you and your brother were recently married?
Yes, it's true.
Oh, a blessing upon Israel. We need such blessings. Come, let me show you. We must keep the windows covered, or someone might inform the authorities, and we would all be killed. I fear that we will lose an entire generation of Jews.
But surely your yeshiva.
Oh, my efforts are feeble when measured against what is happening all over Almohad, Spain, and Morocco. Everywhere, parents are forced to send their children to Muslim schools, to marry into Muslim families.
Rabbeinu Shushan, what is it? Tell me.
Jews are coming forward to the authorities and confessing that their conversions were false, that they are still Jews. A certain letter has convinced them that Jewish law obligates them to give up their lives.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Baruch Dayan Haemet. Show me this letter.
The Epistle of Zealousness.
A person must deny that Mohammed is a prophet and must allow himself to be killed. Whoever declares that Mohammed was a prophet is like a denier of the God of Israel. Whether or not he keeps all the commandments of the Torah, he is considered a non-Jew. Even if he was forced to make that statement, he is wicked, and he is to be counted among those who are unfit to give testimony. You ask about a person going to the mosque and then praying in a synagogue, the prayer of such a person is worthless?
You see?
Who wrote this outrageous letter?
A rabbi who lives in a city where these evil edicts do not exist.
I must hurry. There's no time to lose. No time to lose.
Salah, praise be to Allah.
Malaga, Granada, Cordoba, and next, Fez.
Someone has asked the question of a wise man. That is, a man who is wise in his own estimation. A man who never experienced what the majority of Jewish communities have experienced during this period of forced apostasy. The Rav, the rabbi,
answered weakly, with no reason to his words, not speaking to the point, making statements that even an ignoramus would not make.
Now I will explain how this person didn't realize what he was doing. He thought he was doing a mitzvah, but he committed many sins.
Whoever was killed, rather than state that Muhammad is a messenger of God, has great reward from God, since he sacrificed his life for the sanctification of God's name. However, if someone asks if he should be killed rather than make that statement, we must tell him to make the statement and not be killed.
In the present religious persecution, we are not required to worship idolatry, but only to say that we believe in the Muslim religion. The Muslims know we do not believe in it, but that we are fooling the king, saying one thing and believing another.
If a person desecrated the name of heaven under duress, he is not liable to any of the 7 punishments. We have not found in the entire Torah that God punishes a person under duress. As our sages say, a person under duress is not considered liable by God.
My advice to all those whom I love and who seek my counsel is that they should leave this country. Go to a place where you can keep the religion and the Torah without any coercion or fear.
It's Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimon.
It's Rabbeinu Moshe.
Rabbeinu Moshe, your Igeret Hashmad, your letter on forced conversion, will save the Jews of Morocco. Bless you, Rabbeinu. Bless you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
May Hashem bless you.
I have discovered why the Jews are leaving Morocco. Why they aren't converting. This letter has been circulated.
Find the author of this letter. Find him. Now! Are you the author of this letter?
I wish I could claim the honor.
Name. I want the man who wrote this letter. Name!
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Infidel!
We must leave.
Soon. Soon.
Now, Moshe. There's a warrant for your arrest.
We must also warn Rabbeinu Shushan.
Moshe, it's too late for that.
Baruch Dayan Ha'emet.
Under the cover of darkness, we left Fez, once again forced into exile.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You must rest. Learning takes too much out of you.
Learning with your Perush HaMishnayot makes it so much clearer. Everyone says so.
But you must gain your strength.
You don't understand. When I just lie, doing nothing, I feel sicker and sicker. But when I learn, I feel better.
Thank you.
For what?
You have just taught me a valuable lesson in healing. Sometimes, the mind can heal the body. For 7 years, I labored on the Perush HaMishnayot. I also studied philosophy and medicine and steeped myself in the works of the great healers, Galen and Ibn Sur. My skills as a physician were sharpened, my Torah knowledge increased, but my heart ached. Yes, my soul yearned to go home. Here, smell the lemon. It will relieve the seasickness.
Thank you. The land of Yisrael. Home at last.
The date of my departure for Eretz Yisrael and the date of my delivery from the storm shall be a fast day for myself, my family, and my offspring to the final generation.
It's Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimon.
And his father, the Dayan.
New arrivals to the Holy Land. Welcome, welcome.
Shalom. Shalom.
Are things as bad as what we've heard in Morocco?
Times are difficult. We must pray.
Oh dear, oh dear. Be careful, my friends. Not all Christians act Christian, if you know what I mean.
Moshe, David,
Yitzchak.
Shalom. Alaikum shalom. Come, come, let us hurry.
Well? That way.
Are you certain? Fool! Can't even keep track of a miserable Jew.
How did you know they would follow us?
The Crusaders routinely kidnap Jews and hold them for ransom. They know that we'll do most anything to ransom a captive Jew. They must have heard that you were here. You'd be a prize hostage. Ah, my dear friend. May I speak freely?
Certainly, Yitzchak.
I know how important it is for you to settle here in Eretz Yisrael. But this is so hard to say.
Go on, my old friend. Speak.
Sooner or later, the Crusaders will catch up with you. They'll kidnap you. Or your father or brother, wife, and the children. Maybe all of you. And the ransom they will demand will be fearsome. But after that ransom is paid, they'll probably murder you. They'll demand another ransom for your body.
Is there no place we can live in peace?
Moshe?
Yes. What? What is it?
There.
Hashem, hear my prayer. Listen to my supplications. Answer me in your faithfulness, your righteousness. And do not enter into strict judgment with your servant, for no living creature would be innocent before you.
Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimon and David ben Maimon will be sitting Shiva for their father. Baruch Dayan Hayamet.
How can we go on without him?
We have wonderful wives and children, and we have each other.
You must promise me, David.
What?
No dangerous business journeys. God forbid, if anything should happen to you, I don't know what I would do.
I will be careful, Moshe. You know I will.
I've made my decision. We shall journey and settle in Fustat.
Egypt?
The land of our bondage. Yes. And yes, we'll be breaking 3 commandments every day by living there. But at least there we'll be free of the Almohads, free to learn Torah, which, as Rabbeinu Akiva taught, is the greatest mitzvah of all.
But the Karaites rule the Jewish community in Fustat.
Exactly. And it is my duty to oppose them. Unless Rabbinic Judaism gains authority, the Karaites will control Egypt, and ultimately their misguided ideas will spread to the Jews of all the neighboring countries.
The Karaites are rich, and they have the ear of the Sultan Salah ad-Din. It could be dangerous.
David, I'm talking about the survival of the Jewish people, the survival of Torah. That is the greatest danger. Let us hurry. There's no time to lose. We can no longer remain here in Eretz Yisrael. For our many sins, the land is downfallen and poor. We would only become a burden to the other Jews already here, or else become dependent on the charity of Jews outside the land.
Are they Jews, Father?
They are Karaites.
Karaites?
Allow me, Moshe. Karaites are a group of Jews who I believe are quite misguided.
They reject the Talmud, the oral law.
That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly my sentiments.
Yes? Oh, Rabbeinu Moshe.
Good lady, I have repeatedly warned the Jews of Fustat not to pile their garbage in the streets. It's unsanitary. It's a public health hazard.
With all due respect, but I follow the Karaites, and they say that illness is brought by God.
But God has charged us with taking care of our bodies, taking care of our health.
The Karaite rabbis say it is forbidden to go to a physician.
They are wrong, good lady. Do you not clean your food before you eat it?
Well, yes.
And you do this because?
Well, after all, it's common sense. You can't eat dirt.
And why not?
Because it will make you sick.
So, you see, you do take care of your body and your health. In a sense, you are your own physician.
It's different.
How?
Oh, you confuse me, Rabbeinu Moshe. You're far too clever for a simple Jewish woman like me.
No, not at all. I count on your good common sense to bring you to the proper conclusion. Yes, David. What is it?
It's your wife and daughter. They have become ill.
Fever. Fever brought on by the contagion. Yikadal v'yikadash shemer haba. V'amad yivrak chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. Yasmach pukanei v'karev v'shifei. Yaseh shalom b'maramav. Hu barachamav yaseh shalom alenu. V'al kol amo Yisrael. Imru Amen. Amen. What kind of physician am I that I cannot even save my own?
Moshe, don't.
Oh, David. Perhaps I should have never left Eretz Yisrael.
You fight death, Moshe. You battle death in every way possible as a Rav, a rabbi, and as a physician. But sometimes you lose. The important thing is not to surrender.
The world is dark for me. If it were not for your Torah, I would be lost in my tragedy.
Shalom, Rabbeinu. Rabbeinu.
I'm glad to see your streets so clean, good lady.
The sickness left, just as you said it would. I'm only sorry that your wife and child...
Ladies, you'll all forgive my directness, but it has come to my attention that the Karaite leaders have told the fine Jewish women of Fustat that the laws of family purity are no longer to be obeyed. Without family purity, the Jews who were in bondage in Egypt would have disappeared. I say to you, Jewish women of Fustat, the future of the Jewish people lies in your hands.
But Rabbeinu Moshe, we don't even know what the laws are.
The mikvah, immersing yourself in water, above all, symbolizes the Jewish affirmation of life. Tahara, or purification, is a reversal of the process of tum'ah, defilement. So, just as tum'ah implies death, tahara implies life.
And that's why we can't just use a regular bathtub, because it's for cleaning the body. The mikvah is for the soul.
Excellent. You ladies, may I say, are some of the best students I've ever had.
Yet we still hardly know anything. There is so much we want to know.
Well, just ask, please.
I know this sounds stupid, but how many commandments are in the Torah?
Excellent question. How many mitzvot do you think there are?
10?
I was seized with sorrow regarding this matter that has pained me for years. In the counting of the mitzvot, people have imagined matters the depth of whose incorrectness I cannot even describe.
Sefer HaMitzvot.
It's an overview of the 613 mitzvot, including various principles and rules of exegesis.
I thought you were sleeping.
I've slept too much already.
You've written it in Arabic.
The simple Jew in Fustat cannot read Hebrew.
You push yourself too hard, Moshe. Look at you. As a physician, what would you say about yourself?
I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. You know, David, there's no...
No time to lose. I know.
You're making me nervous.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I didn't say you had to leave, did I, Rabbeinu Moshe?
You know me?
Well, of course. Everyone knows Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimon. That's all anyone ever talks about anymore. Rabbeinu Moshe has written a holy book. Rabbeinu Moshe can heal any disease. Rabbeinu Moshe writes beautiful poetry. Rabbeinu Moshe will drive the Karaites from Egypt. Why, it must be exhausting being you.
Yeah. What are you doing, good lady?
Jamila.
Excuse me?
My name is Jamila. It means beautiful. And I'm making a basket out of reeds. For what purpose, you ask? I was learning the story in the Torah, where Moshe Rabbeinu is saved by being placed in the basket. Learning with my father, Harav Mishael.
Oh.
You know him?
Well, he's one of my best students. I never knew that Rav Mishael had a daughter.
Of course not. My father thinks I'm far too forward. He says no man will ever marry me unless I learn my place. What do you think?
Extraordinary.
Well now, let's see, shall we? Oh.
The pitch. You forgot to coat it with pitch.
Pitch?
Yes, pitch. It has to contain at least 40 se'ah of water. I would make it bigger and comfortable.
What's he doing now?
Building a ritual bath.
A mikvah? Such nonsense. An ordinary bath is sufficient.
Rabbeinu Moshe has taught us the laws of Nidah, family purity, and an ordinary bath is not according to halakha.
Halachot these clever rabbinic rabbanim make up to give themselves power.
Don't you see that they interpret laws while we follow the letter of the Torah?
Your rulings are inflexible and make everything so difficult. The rabbinic Jews light candles on Erev Shabbat and eat warm food. But Karaites have to sit in darkness and eat cold food. On Shabbat morning, They go to synagogue, and when they come home, they sing joyous song. Karaites stay at home and recite Selechot, Lamentations. It doesn't make sense.
You are just an ignorant woman. How can you decide who is right?
It's true. I was ignorant. But now, Rabbeinu Moshe has come and taught us Torah.
He is a false Jew.
Unlike you, sir, I rule that all Karaites are still Jews.
We do not need your rulings.
I allow your dead to be buried, your children circumcised, and I permit your wine. But Karaites are not to be included in a quorum. And I will not allow you to be visited on the festivals because your interpretation of the calendar is wrong.
We do not interpret the calendar. On the contrary, we fix our calendar as it is fixed in the Torah.
You say you do not interpret, but everything you do is interpretation. Every action you take is interpretive. You claim hostility to rabbinic tradition, but everything you do is tradition. But it is a tradition that lacks mesorah, the historical sanction and fertilizing spiritual vitality of the oral law, Torah Sheba'al Peh.
What you call spiritual vitality, we call heresy. God sent the Torah through Moshe Rabbeinu. The Torah contains the perfect truth, which cannot be complemented or altered by the so-called oral law. And if you think that Jewish women will go along with your mikvah, you're a fool.
Rabbeinu Moshe, on behalf of the Jewish women of Fustat, we wish to thank you. You were right. The mikvah has changed our lives.
May Hashem bless you.
May Hashem bless you.
The final pages of the Perusha Mishnayot. I'll get you to the copyist immediately. At last, the end.
No, it's not the end, Rav Mishael. The Perush will serve as an introduction to my next work. I'm calling it Mishnah Torah. It'll codify all the laws of the Torah.
Oh, it sounds...
What?
Impossible?
The impossible is necessary.
Rabbeinu Moshe.
Yes?
I am only your secretary, and I do not mean to be impudent.
Rav Mishael, you may speak your mind.
Well, it's personal.
Personal?
Personal.
Personal. Personal about me, or personal about you?
Yes, both, I suppose. And someone else.
Someone else? And who could that be, I wonder?
This is very difficult.
So it's personal, it's about you, it's about me, it's about someone else, and your pulse is racing. I'm worried for your health. Now speak up. It's about, let me see, a family member?
Actually, yes.
Your daughter, Jamila, perhaps?
How did you know?
Well, it's time for her to get married. And you have someone in mind. And you want my approval.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, well, actually, oh, dear.
Oh, this is too bad.
Too bad, why?
Because I was planning on talking to you about Jamila.
Speak to me about Jamila? Oh my, don't tell me. Oh, Rabbeinu Moshe, has she offended someone? You? Oh no, she's not a bad girl, really. No, God forbid. Just extremely, what's the word?
Extraordinary.
Yes, headstrong, yes. What did you say?
Rav Mishael, calm down.
You mean? Why, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about.
הרי את מקודשת לי בטבעת זו כדת משה בישראל.
מזל
You are Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimun?
I am.
We have orders directly.
What have I done?
Orders directly from the great, the mighty, the blessed Sultan Salah ad-Din.
Is my husband under arrest?
I only follow orders, and my orders are to bring the physician Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimun, known to Muslims as Abu Amran Musa ben Maimun, to Cairo.
Even on his wedding day?
Jamila, I count on you to keep things in order while I'm gone.
The say that you are a holy man, that even the Muslims love you. You were recommended to the Sultan by his Wazir Al-Fadil, who says you are a gifted healer.
All healing is a gift. We are only his servants.
Your Highness, Abu Amran Musa bin Maimun, Rabbeinu Moshe bin Maimun.
My head hurts.
My Sultan has
head ache. My physicians have tried everything and can do nothing. Your fame as a physician has reached our ears. We wish to be cured, now.
May I speak with Your Excellency in private?
Speak?
What do you eat?
What do I eat?
Today you have made yourself mortal enemies.
But I cured the Sultan.
Exactly. The court physicians will never forgive you. Take good care, Rabbeinu Moshe.
You must exercise every day and eat less. Less fruit, more fresh vegetables. Vegetables, greens, no sweets. You must lose some weight. The Talmud says that more people die from the cooking pot than from starvation.
But I love to eat.
Yes, well, reserve your love for Torah and family. Your heart is being strained by all the weight you put on it. Lose weight and your breathing will improve. Remember, health is not an end in itself, but the means to serve God.
They say you do not accept payment.
It is not necessary. Come and see me in 2 weeks. You'll get to like vegetables.
Someone special is waiting, Moshe.
Yes, I know. I have many patients. No time to lose. Your ailment?
The Jews of Yemen.
Yitzchak! Wait. What is it you said?
Why, you haven't heard? Calamity. The ruler of Yemen, Al-Muazzam Shamsuddin, is attempting to force the Jews now to convert to Islam.
Even worse, a Jew who converted to Islam is preaching that Muhammad and Islam were predicted in the Torah.
And another Yemenite Jew, a lunatic, has declared himself Mashiach, Messiah. This is a pious and learned man, so many people follow him. But the situation is grave. The Jews of Yemen are bewildered. They fast, pray, and afflict themselves, but conversions have begun.
And what about the great Yemenite Rabbeinu Al-Fayumi? Can he do nothing?
I carry this letter from Rabbeinu Al-Fayumi, and in it he charges the great Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimun with writing a letter to the Jews of Yemen. Only your greatness in Torah can possibly stem the tide.
If it is that bad, Yitzchak, then anything I write must be smuggled in. And if the authorities should discover my letter...
Leave that to me, Rabbeinu Moshe.
In regard to the ruler of Yemen, who had declared a campaign of apostasy against the Jews...
Such a matter should not decrease one's faith in God, in his Torah, in Moshe, his servant.
Teach it to the young people and children, in order to strengthen your faith and be strong in truth.
We have the true Torah that was given to us by the greatest of all prophets, with which God separated us from all other people, not because we were fit for it, but out of his love for us.
Yalla! Yalla!
We were promised by God, by way of the prophet Yeshayahu, that whoever tries to overcome our Torah, whether by force or by argument, will be vanquished.
You have written of the evildoer who interprets various verses in Torah as referring to Muhammad. These are ridiculously weak proofs that even the evildoers themselves do not believe to be true. They claim that the Jews revised the Torah and erased Muhammad's name from it.
They have found no stronger argument, even though it is contemptible and weak, even in the eyes of the common man, since we possess ancient copies of translations of the Torah into other languages hundreds of years before the coming of Muhammad.
Know that God has already told us through the prophet Yeshayahu that because our exile shall be long and great, many of us will think that God had abandoned us. Heaven forbid. But he said that he will never set us aside.
May he bring his wrath and anger upon all those who rise up against us, and may he illuminate our darkness as he has promised. Behold, the darkness shall cover the land, and clouds over the nations, and Hashem will shine upon you.
All aboard! The exalted God knows the pain and sorrow in my heart because of the departure of my dear and most beloved brother.
Don't worry, Moshe. I'll be fine. You should be used to my trips by now.
Prepare to sail! May God save me by allowing no harm to come to you, and may we again be together in Fustat, with God's help.
What is your desire, Rabbeinu Moshe? We have not forgotten that you cured our sick headaches.
Mighty Sultan, may you rule in glory until the end of time. I've come to speak to you regarding my fellow Jews in Yemen. There, most gracious excellency, the Zaidi rulers placed harsh and evil decrees against the Jews. You have crushed the unjust might of the Zaidi, but the calamitous edicts still stand. On behalf of the Jews of Yemen, I ask you to remove these oppressive decrees.
You are a troublemaker, Rabbeinu Moshe. My wazirs inform me that the Karaites are unhappy with your presence in Egypt.
I seek to undermine their authority.
So you admit as much?
I do. I will not subject your majesty to a recital of our religious differences. That may only suggest that the Karaites' claim to represent true Judaism is simply not true.
Such issues make my head ache.
Your Highness, about the Jews of Yemen?
We shall consider the matter.
A letter from David?
No, not yet, Moshe.
But we have just received word from Yemen.
Yes?
Salah ad-Din has repealed the terrible laws. The Jews of Yemen are saved, Moshe. The Sultan listened to your plea.
Baruch Hashem.
And the Yemenite Jews credit your letter with giving them the strength to go on in the face of such terrible persecutions. Tell him.
What?
The Jews of Yemen are so grateful that they've included a prayer for you in their Kaddish. May the Mashiach arrive in your lifetime and in your days, and in the lifetime of Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimon. So it will be, forever.
Unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Now, leave me. No time to lose. No time to lose.
There's something else. We are with child. Ah, Moshe, you are such a man of charity. Simply thanking God for you is not enough.
Baruch Hashem, thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Rabbeinu. I so needed the money.
Yes. Yitzchak. What is it?
I'm sorry, but Rabbeinu Moshe will not see you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please understand. He has just lost his brother.
Rabbeinu Moshe?
Let us make a pact. In this world, I will make a living, you will learn Torah. In the next world, we will share the reward.
Oh, Rabbeinu Moshe.
David! David! David, you're alive! Oh, forgive me. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else. David was like a son to me. Growing up on my knees, he was my brother. He was my student. My joy in seeing him is gone, and I am left dismayed in a foreign land.
Moshe, there's someone to see you.
I told you that I don't want to see anyone.
Ah, Abu Imran Musa bin Maimon, at last.
Your Highness, how may I be of service? The problem is poor digestion, Your Majesty. I shall prepare a remedy from the inner parts of dried fruits, wild olives, raisins, and the small fruit of the dogwood. If I may be so bold, you appear to be suffering from melancholia.
I am told that your brother died.
Yes, Your Majesty. He was lost at sea.
I, too, recently lost a beloved brother. It is as if a limb had been severed from my body.
Indeed, Your Majesty. As if your very heart has been cleaved in two.
Thank you.
For what, Your Excellency?
For agreeing to treat me in your time of grief. Ah, my physicians have come to see you fail, Rabbeinu Moshe.
My talents are but dust compared to your learned healers.
Abu Imran Musa ben Maimon, can you cure someone who has been blind from birth?
Rabbeinu Moshe?
I cannot. And I do not believe anyone can.
How long have you been blind?
Since birth, Your Eminence.
Observe.
By the beard of the prophet, I can see your blessings on your head.
It seems you have been proven wrong, Rabbeinu Moshe.
Indeed. May I examine the patient?
Please.
How many fingers am I holding up?
3.
Extraordinary. What color is this pillow?
Red.
If someone is blind from birth, Your Excellency...
They would not be able to recognize any color. Fools, frauds, scoundrels, out!
Not now, Jamila.
Moshe, it's been a year since David's death. This cannot go on.
Jamila, please.
No. Listen to me. David's ship sank in the Indian Ocean. He's lost. And lost with him is the livelihood of 2 families. David supported all of us.
He was a righteous man, a tzaddik. People did not realize what a great Torah scholar he was.
Moshe, now there are 2 families without a means of a livelihood. Do you plan on spending the rest of your life in mourning? Well?
I don't know.
Well, I do. You have to rise above your sorrow. What would David say if he saw you like this?
He would not be happy.
Of course not. Moshe, I have shielded you from the money troubles for a year now. I've turned away patients over and over again. And David's wife has too much respect for you to ask for help. But the situation has become intolerable.
I had no idea.
The community has made you an offer.
An offer? I don't understand.
To be chief rabbi, Rav of Fustat. They'll pay you a good salary.
No.
But Moshe...
Absolutely not. I wrote in my commentary on Pirkei Avot, do not regard the Torah as a tool to make a living.
Moshe, be realistic.
To be a salaried Rav is a curse. Better to be a weaver or a carpenter or the lowliest street sweeper.
Then what will you do?
My head, the pain. I need to see the doctor.
Rabbeinu Moshe will see you in a few minutes. Please be patient. And what are your symptoms?
I must see Rabbeinu Moshe immediately.
My baby won't stop crying.
I'm going bald.
My husband doesn't love me anymore.
Is it my liver?
No.
Then what?
Lack of discipline.
Excuse me?
Do not eat except when you are hungry, nor drink except when thirsty. Do not gorge yourself, but leave the table before your appetite is fully appeased. The lighter food should be eaten first, and during the summer you should only eat 2/3 of what you eat in winter.
But I live for food.
Everything in moderation. And you must exercise. Stimulate the blood. You would do well to walk a circuit around the city. Every day. Next.
That will be 3 copper coins, good sir.
I thought there was no fee.
As the Talmud states, a physician who takes nothing is worth nothing.
Of course, I never did get over my brother's death. But Torah, my community, and the birth of our son, Abraham, nourished my soul.
Morocco, Yemen, Baghdad, Jerusalem, France, Spain.
After composing the Perush HaMishnayot, my commentary on the Mishnah, I have decided to compile all the laws of the Torah. I shall attempt, as is my custom, not to mention disagreements or discarded opinions, but only to set down the decided law. In this way, this compilation will include all the laws of Torat Moshe Rabbeinu. I will include all that is established and clarified from the words of the Torah, so that no question will be missing. It is my purpose to combine conciseness with completeness. In short, there should be no need after the Torah for any other book besides this one to learn whatever laws one needs to know, whether of Torah or of rabbinic origin.
The letter speaks of the reaction to the Mishneh Torah by Rabbeinu Avraham ben David of Posker.
The Rabbad is a great scholar.
Yes, and he is quoted as saying, Rabbeinu Moshe intended to fix, but he did not fix. He brought sources without citing them. He chose between opinions, but why should we assume his choice to be correct?
For 10 straight years, I worked day and night to put this work together. But who can be free of errors?
There are many other attacks on your honor, upon your work.
I do not claim to have produced a flawless work or that I have never erred.
We must be vigorous in your defense.
Isn't what I wrote clear enough? But how much happier I am that I received a letter from the sages of France who claim to be overwhelmed at what I have composed. Go on.
Some foolish Rav has claimed that on the basis of what he has learned in the Mishneh Torah, that you do not believe in the resurrection of the dead, that you are a heretic. Rabbeinu Moshe, surely this cannot go unanswered.
I declare that the resurrection of the righteous of mankind is a concept universally accepted by all Jews. Someone has claimed that I have said that the resurrection mentioned in the Torah is allegorical, but this is a clear falsehood and totally different from what I have actually said. Resurrection is one of the key principles of our faith.
Ma'amar Techiyat HaMetim.
Yes, Rav Mishal, my reply. You were right. Criticism, based on a lack of knowledge or a clear misunderstanding of the Mishnah, must be answered.
Moreh Nevuchim?
The guide to the perplexed, intended for those already knowledgeable in Torah.
A guide for those already knowledgeable?
Ancient classical philosophy, the philosophy of our times, science, God, the 13 principles of our faith. The knowledgeable can also be perplexed. I wrote this guide to put it all into perspective, the Torah's perspective. It's a bridge that reconciles the rational with the reality of God. As my father taught me, so I taught my son. Knowledge is the key to belief and growing closer to God. This is the tradition, the Mesorah of our family. Abraham, tell me, why in my Sefer HaMitzvot did I list that the first commandment is to know there is a God?
Because without belief in God, an understanding of the Torah and the observance of His commandments are impossible. In order for laws to be obeyed, people must have faith in the King who decrees these laws.
Good. Very good.
You shouldn't be walking alone, Rabbeinu Moshe. The streets are not safe.
I have nothing worth stealing.
Come, what troubles you?
More attacks on my work.
You should be used to them by now.
I get more respect from the Muslims than from my fellow Jews.
Would you do anything differently?
Footnotes. I would include footnotes, so the sources where I derived the law would be included.
Ah, yes, the footnotes. But do you know that there are already several editions of your Mishneh Torah, with commentaries printed alongside your text?
I wrote it so it would be the only book a Jew would need, and it's spawning more and more books.
But isn't that the way with Jews, Rabbeinu Moshe? They always try and have the last word, knowing full well that such a thing is not possible. But tell me, why didn't you include the footnotes?
I was after simplicity, and giving the law in the name of a particular sage would have encouraged the Karaites to say that the sages made up the law. Besides, I was young. I never imagined that other Jews would see my work as a threat to Torah.
Well, Jews must be cautious, Rabbeinu Moshe. So many people want to destroy the Torah that when someone comes to preserve it, well, the defensive reflex, it's very strong.
Intelligent questions do not bother me. Reasoned attacks are welcome. It's the hate that hurts.
Don't let it hurt you.
That's difficult.
Well, then don't let it beat you. It's been a long journey.
I wonder.
About?
History.
And your place in it?
I ask myself over and over again, have I made a difference? Has my work helped preserve Torah?
Rabbeinu Moshe, I have traveled far and wide across this world. I have visited almost every Jewish community from China to Ethiopia. I have seen more variety of Jews in Judaism than almost any man alive. And I can say with absolute conviction that if not for your work, Rabbeinu Moshe, Judaism would have eventually shattered into disparate sects and beliefs.
No. That was never possible.
Not only possible, Rabbeinu Moshe, but in all likelihood probable. Your work has managed to unite all the various currents of Jewish law and philosophy. For the first time in Jewish history, there is written codified agreement on what a Jew is supposed to believe. For the first time in Jewish history, there is a clearly written general consensus on how one should go about living a Jewish life.
I have done that.
Wasn't that your intention?
I just wanted to clarify, to make Torah accessible to all Jews.
Ah, yes. And generations to come will confirm that. But don't underestimate your influence. It will live forever.
I live in Fustat, and the king lives in Cairo, a distance of 2 Tachomeh Shabbat. My obligation to the king is very burdensome. Every day, I must see him in the morning. If he is weak, or if one of his children or wives is ill, I spend most of the day in the palace. I must also visit princes every day, and every day 1 or 2 ministers are ill. If there is nothing unusual, I get back to Fustat in the afternoon. Even before I arrive, I am starving. But the corridors are filled with Jews and non-Jews, important and unimportant people, judges and leaders, a great confusion of people who are all waiting to see me. I dismount from my donkey and I wash my hands. I ask my patients to please wait until I've eaten a light meal. I only have this one meal once a day. Then I treat patients and write prescriptions for them. This continues sometimes into the night. I speak to the patients lying on my back from great weariness. I am totally exhausted, too tired even to mumble. I cannot speak with any Jew about halakha, Jewish law, until Shabbat. Then, all the Jews come to me after the prayers, and I guide them regarding what they do during the week. Unfortunately, my exhaustion is no longer from being tired. I am weary in body and soul, but I take hope in the thought of the French sages of Lunel. They are true scholars of the Torah. They are men who will carry on the work to the coming generations. I can no longer be active, for I am aged. Not because I am old, but because I am so ill. Abraham, my son.
Yes, Father.
So little time. Shema, Yisrael, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Echad.
From Moshe to Moshe, none arose like Moshe.
So little time.